Welcome to the Mega-Animal Compilation. These are the top 10 most viewed videos on YouTube of animals that I have ever created. Just ever. And this will include mythical animals, like unicorns and the lake monster. Because, they could exist. I'm not here to say what's real and is. Anyways, stay tuned afterwards because I'm going to be doing a nature walk and see what kind of animals I can see, if any. I don't. You'll just have to stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another night at the Fireside Tales. Excuse me one moment. Tonight I'd like to tell you the very true story of Balto the Sled Dog. Now, the story begins in Nome, where a group of children were suffering from a terrible epidemic known as the diphtheria. Pardon me if I said that wrong. Diphtheria epidemic. Anyways, they were in need of medicine, and Seattle, Washington had created a serum that should be able to help them. The only problem was they were having trouble getting it to Nome. They thought about using trains and finally decided on using sled dogs. So they got a team of sled dogs, and what they were planning to do was send the sled dogs to one town, and then another team would take the serum, and they would head to Nome and do the rest of the journey. So that's how it went down. The leader of this was Gunnar Kaysen, who was a famous sled dog rider, and he was led by his dog Togo. And so they journeyed forth, and Gunnar Kaysen had to face the blizzard and the cold, and it was a very difficult trip, but finally he ended up arriving at the town, only to find that during the blizzard, the sled dog team had been so sure that Gunnar Kaysen wasn't going to arrive that they didn't even bother to suit up, meaning it would take a lot of time for them to get ready, and they just weren't going to be able to make it. So, bravely, Gunnar Kaysen decided to make the rest of the journey. But he needed a new lead because Togo was getting tired. So he used a dog he named Balto. Now, Balto wasn't meant to be a leader of a sled dog team, but to Gunnar Kaysen's surprise, Balto did an incredible job, maybe because he could sense that the mission was important. And so they went all across, and then something terrible happened. Gunnar Kaysen dropped the serum. And he had to stop the sled dog team, and he began searching through the snow looking for it, digging his hands into the snow, and it was freezing cold, and he looked everywhere. And just when he was about to give up, he reached forward and he touched the serum, laying there in the snow, and he found it. And he ran forward and he got onto his sled dog team, and he rode forward into Nome. Then he was able to help the children. And after that, Balto became a hero. Parades were held in his honor, and everyone in the world, to this day, still knows his name. It's a story of bravery, and it shows that even a dog can be a hero simply by pushing forward. As always, sweet dreams and good night. It is not that I do not believe in the impossible, it is simply that I refuse to limit myself to it. And it can be said that strange and unordinary things happen in this universe all the time. One case in point is that of Mike the Headless Chicken. Now, the story starts at the Olson farm, to a man by the name of Lloyd Olson. Now, Lloyd Olson was going out to the chicken coop to get himself a chicken for dinner. And he looked around for the biggest and plumpest chicken he could find, and when he finally found it, he grabbed hold of it by its neck, took it to the chopping board, and at this point the bird was squawking and flapping its wings. And so he raised up the knife and he chopped the chicken's head straight off. Well, anyways, the chicken began to run around with its head cut off, blood splattering on the ground.
and Lloyd Olsen decided to go back into his house and wait for a couple of hours for the chicken to die. But when he came back into the barnyard a couple hours later, he found to his surprise that the chicken was still very much alive. So he ran back into the house and he decided to phone all of his friends and family. Well, anyways, Mike the Headless Chicken at this point was being made fun of by all of his friends. They were calling him names like the Headless Freak and my personal favorite, Airhead. And, actually, what would you do if one of your friends had his head cut off and sat down beside you? You'd, of course, ridicule him. Well, anyways, Mike the Headless Chicken was getting a little bit depressed. So he went to the corner of the barn and he just lowered his stump. And as he stood there, an old cock came up. And the old cock said, "Mike the Headless Chicken." Or, not Mike the Headless Chicken, because that wasn't his name at this point, but he said, "Chicken, what's wrong?" And Mike said, "Well, all of the other chickens are laughing at me." And the old cock said, "Now you listen here, boy. You don't need a head to live in this world. I always thought heads were overrated. All you need is a heart. Why, I find that you can hear and you can see and you can feel with a heart way better than you ever could with a head." Well, anyways, Mike the Headless Chicken decided to heed the old cock's wise words, and eventually people began to arrive to see Mike the Headless Chicken. And Mike the Headless Chicken just acted as he normally would. He tried to peck at the corn, only to find that he couldn't eat anything. And he also tried to crow, only for a gurgling sound to come out. And anyways, all the people, they gathered around and took photographs, all to see this miracle chicken, and the mayor himself arrived. And eventually, Mike the Headless Chicken became a sideshow attraction, and Lloyd Olsen would keep the chicken alive by dropping kernels of food into its mouth and giving it water with this little thing. I forget what it's called. It was a little utensil that drops water into a creature's neck. But anyways, Mike the Headless Chicken became known throughout the country. But eventually people began to call it out as a hoax. I mean, who could believe in a headless chicken? So eventually the Utah University decided to study him, and they eventually found out what it was. That it was something to do with his jugular vein, but anyways, at that point, Mike the Headless Chicken was declared a scientific fact. And a lot of creatures, with all these people coming up to him and telling him how wonderful he was, would get big-headed and get a little snotty. But Mike the Headless Chicken wouldn't let the fame get to his head, because of course he didn't have one. No, for him, all that was important was that he was inspiring in people, and showing them that impossible things can happen, and he heeded the old cock's word that you didn't need a head, all you needed was a heart. Well, people would come all from across the world to see Mike the Headless Chicken, sheiks from Arabia, prime ministers, presidents. But eventually, one night, Lloyd Olsen was sitting in his hotel when he heard a bunch of gurgling noises, and he ran in to find that Mike the Headless Chicken was choking. So Lloyd Olsen tried to get some tweezers to pull out the crumb, but at that point it was too late. Mike the Headless Chicken was laying there dead. And Mike the Headless Chicken's spirit soared up into the heavens, and eventually he came before God. And God said to the chicken, "Mike the Headless Chicken, you can now enjoy the beauties of paradise. You can run around in the farm, you're free and without the worry of death." Well, anyways, Mike the Headless Chicken looked up at God. I guess he didn't really look up at him, but you know what I mean. He raised his neck to him. And Mike the Headless Chicken decided that he didn't want to go into heaven and paradise, but instead he wanted to stay there on the earth for a little while and inspire other people and make them believe in impossible things. So God agreed, and so it is that Mike the Headless Chicken's spirit still lives within all of us. And occasionally he will even visit people. He once visited a marathon runner and told him that if he could lose his head and survive, then that man could certainly finish the mile. And he also stopped people from killing themselves. He actually once even stopped a terrorist from a suicide bombing a place. That was rather impressive. And he's held people on their test and told them they're good enough to get the girl. And basically just being a spirit for all of mankind, to remind them that, as I've often said, nothing is impossible. As always, sweet dreams and good night.
Hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around.
Hello everyone. Welcome welcome to another night here at the Fireside Tales. I am your host as always, Father Martin, and tonight I am here to tell you all a story about love. And more specifically, a story about love between humans and primates. Now, humans and primates can't communicate in the normal way. They can't say, "How do you do?" and "Good morning" to each other. But they can communicate in a different way. Human beings have taught gorillas and chimpanzees sign language. And there are a lot of critics that say that this doesn't actually work and say that the evidence is misleading. And I'm not here to take one side or the other. But what I will say is that these experiments have brought us some great stories. And I just wanted to share a few of them with you tonight. So, the first story I wanted to tell you all about was Coco the gorilla. Now, Coco the gorilla was owned by a Miss Patterson, and she began teaching Coco sign language, hoping that she would be able to communicate this way. And Coco ended up exceeding her expectations. Not only did she learn how to sign language, but she also learned displacement theory. She learned how to identify herself in a mirror. She could form new words out of two existing objects. And she even ended up teaching the experimenter something. One day, Coco met a man by the name of Robin Williams, who I believe is a comedian in your parts. I don't know too much about him. But anyways, Robin Williams was said to be very jolly with her. He went up and hugged her, and eventually he left. He said farewell. And many years later, Robin Williams tragically committed suicide. And Coco was said to be very sad about this, and she signed tear and cry. Another time, Coco got a pet, a little kitten, and she named the kitten Allball. And she was very tender with this kitten. She loved it very much. And indeed, this is actually one of the first cases we ever have of an animal keeping a pet. But one day, the little kitten escaped, and it ran into a car and was hit. And Coco was said to be very depressed after this as well, signing sad and cry. Well, anyways, I'll let you all decide what that means, but for the caretakers it meant that gorillas can be just like human beings in a lot of ways, and that they can feel the pain of this world just as well. Now, the next story I wanted to tell you all was about Washoe, the chimpanzee. Now, Washoe was a little bit different of a case from Coco. She was raised to be just like a human being. She was given clothes, and she was allowed to sit at the table, and she had playtime, and they taught her sign language, and she seemed to learn it very well and could do many of the things Coco could do, forming words from two existing objects. For instance, one time she looked out on a lake and she saw a bird floating on it, and she came up with the word water bird. But anyways, one day Cat, was coming in, and she was a bit sad. She was very depressed, in fact, because she had lost her baby. And she was taking care of Washoe, and Washoe noticed that she was sad, and Washoe had been kind of ignoring her. She was saying a little angry that she'd been gone so long. But finally, Cat apologized to Washoe, and finally she decided to tell Washoe the truth, that she had lost her child, and she signed it into the hand. And Washoe looked at her for a moment and signed cry. And then she went up and she hugged Cat. And Cat later said that this taught her more about humans and apes' communication, or humans and chimpanzees in this case, than any grammatically correct sentence that the chimpanzee had ever made. Anyways, another time, Washoe was given her own adopted child, Lewis. And she loved Lewis very much. She would often sign. But one of the first words she ever signed into Lewis' hands was the words love. And that is where I'm going to leave you all off with tonight. I should mention that that last story has become a little bit of a fable, but I personally believe it's true. Maybe I'm just a weakling at heart. But anyways, that is all that I have for you. As always, sweet dreams and good night.
Hey, we're the monkeys. And people say we're monkeying around.
For 30 years, people have reported sighting a monster at Broadford Park in Oakland, Maryland. The creature is described as being serpent-like, resembling a plesiosaurus. Yet, could this be a hoax? A case of mistaken identity? Or a gigantic robot created by a mad scientist intent on keeping pesky children from discovering his evil scheme?
Today I'll be investigating the monster of Broadford Park. I'll be talking to leading researchers in the field, conducting my own experiments, and getting to the bottom of the greatest mystery in the history of Garrett County.
My name is Edwin Douglas, and I am a leading researcher on the Broadford Lake Monster.
I've been working on this case for 17 years now. I keep getting closer and closer to solving the puzzle, yet there's always another piece to it that I haven't factored in.
Even if I do find it, and I believe that I will, it's a dinosaur. I'm not going to be able to put handcuffs on it, and it can melt the camera with its mind, so there's no photographs being taken. What do you do? What do you do?
Here we are, it is 6:15, and I wanted to show you all where the history of the monster began. Follow me. This is the crater. I want to show you all something. Notice its shape, how deep it is, how perfectly circular. This is not a man-made or nature-made structure. We paranormal investigators believe this is where the UFO first crash landed. This is the government facility where I believe the aliens are being stowed.
I could get into all the odd details about this place. Pipes that don't serve any purpose. Cages that, according to rumors, are used to punish disrespectful employees. The main thing I want to discuss, however, is why this is the origin of the Broadford Lake Monster. The tale begins 30 years ago. After the facility was created, scientists began their investigations into the wreckage of the UFO. They made countless discoveries in everything from DNA to radiation. Eventually, through their hard work, they were able to clone a brontosaurus, or a plesiosaurus depending on who you ask. The creature, however, proved too much for them to handle. Although we can't be sure how, at some point, it escaped from the facility and into the lake. The scientists realized that the expense and danger was simply too great for them to recapture the monster. And so there it has remained to this day, waiting for someone to discover it.
I come out here every day for about 13 hours, trying to spot the monster. You know, I didn't just get into this business for the chicks, and believe me, there is a lot of beautiful chicks in the monster hunting business. I did it to prove to people that there's more than what you see on the surface. You know, there's a whole other world out there below the depths. You just gotta be brave enough to look for it.
Not everyone believes, however. Dr. A. Killjoy is one of the biggest skeptics.
Look, here's my big problem with the Broadford Lake Monster. If this creature exists, how does it survive during the winter? By wintertime, Broadford is covered in ice. A plesiosaurus can't survive in this climate.
Well, your rival, Edwin, has argued that there may be hidden channels underneath Broadford Lake that run to the Atlantic Ocean.
What? Broadford Broadford Lake is hundreds of miles from the Atlantic Ocean. How does a dinosaur swim in an underwater channel for that far of a distance? And besides, it's a lake water dinosaur. How does it go from being a lake water dinosaur to a seawater dinosaur?
Alright then, Edwin has also hypothesized that the creature might hibernate in a cave during the wintertime.
No, that's completely ridiculous. Edwin needs to make up his mind whether this is a brontosaurus or a plesiosaurus. Brontosauruses do not go swimming around in lakes for 30 years and then decide to live in a cave during the winter.
So you don't believe in the monster?
No, I do not believe. Look, what people are probably seeing here is the electric eels that thrive in Broadford Lake. These can reach up to 12 feet in length. It's a case of mistaken identity. There are no real monsters.
Could giant electric eels really be what people were seeing at Broadford Lake? The Almost Everything team decided to send me out to investigate.
You know, you can see imagery of the Broadford Lake monster all over this park.
From the green dinosaur at the playground to the fossil underneath the stairs, people here at Broadford really love the monster.
It's not too crowded today. Maybe we'll perform our own experiment. So, one thing scientists will do when investigating the creature is shift through the dirt. And this is to see if there's any feces, dinosaur scales, anything that might be valuable. And this could be something. Maybe Brontosaurus eggshells? We'll take it back to the lab.
And the conclusion?
So, I've studied the DNA, and this isn't a Brontosaurus shell.
Oh no.
Yeah. This is actually an oyster shell. And you can tell that because of how hard it is.
So tell me, how do you handle failures in a job like this? I've only done it once, and after this, I'm not sure if I ever want to do it again.
Well, it is difficult, but you have to keep trying.
So the experiment was a failure, and Edwin clearly has more stamina than me. Yet there was one more thing the team and I wanted to do. We decided to ask people at the park what they thought of the monster. Answers varied.
No, I do not believe that there is a damn dinosaur in Broadford Lake. It's a man-made lake. I am a huge skeptic. No. Yeah, I saw it. I was walking down that road there, the middle of the night, and I came to the playground, and there was this huge monster staring straight at me. It looked like a brontosaurus. Well, I stared back at it, and it turned and it darted back into the lake. I swear it was the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. I was about ready to get my gun out. I was. The Broadford Lake Monster. Yes, I've heard of it. A true wonder of the world that thing would be if it existed. Be a shame if someone were to, I don't know, drain the lake or launch a nuclear weapon at it, destroying this one-of-a-kind creature. And if that does happen, it wasn't me. Oh yeah, the Broadford Lake Monster is totally real. I was walking by the shore and found some eggs and tracks from the creature, and sometimes you can find broken down trees. Just go look for yourself. You'll find them. It is real. The monster is real.
So our interviews, like everything else, led to no definite proof. Our mystery remains. Yet, what can be expected?
Every answer leads only to more questions. Maybe one day we'll be able to find out the truth of the Broadford Lake Monster. Until that day, we can only keep searching.
And check out the 11-hour epic Still Searching for the Broadford Lake Monster in select stores now.
Subscribe for more bedwetting horror! Right there. The subscribe button. Don't be afraid.
Seth Sketch. As of right now, I have reached 100 subscribers. Actually, about 130. So, as promised, I am going to eat the black scorpion. In the announcement video for the bug eating challenge, I specifically mentioned that the one that looked most terrifying was the black scorpion. So of course, naturally, that's the one all of you wanted me to eat. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at some of your comments. But you guys ask, so here it is, the black scorpion. You know, they say that people in the future are going to be eating bugs and stuff like that, but considering how much this thing cost, I don't think that's going to be anything in the immediate future, maybe years from now. I'm going to go ahead and give it a go. I have to note that I do love the can, the decoration. It's so bland and simple for something that is so terrifying inside. But anyways, I'll go ahead. It's pretty much like tuna. I don't really like tuna though, so... Ooh, there it is. There it is. It looks kind of like it's nestled down in there. Alright, this is a lot for 30 bucks, but kind of looks good. Oh man. Ooh, there's like a little napkin in there. Oh man, I should get more diddied up, shouldn't I? Hold on one moment. Alright, so I've got on my bib, little candlelight. I'm trying to make eating bugs as fancy as possible, because, you know, if you girls are going to start eating this, then you're going to have to make it look a little bit more refined. So, I'm going to try. It's a lot smaller than I expected. I was expecting something pretty big. But this is the black scorpion. It is a 4-6... Oh, alright. Sort of... Oh, one of its legs fell off. Sort of a lot harder than I expected. A lot more crusty. I feel like I could just break it in one hand. Oh. This is going to be interesting. The leg. Okay, the leg is very crunchy. It actually tastes a little bit like bacon. It's got kind of nasty, a little bit of a nasty taste to it, to be honest. Here it goes. This is the real bite. Those are just the legs, but this is the real test to see whether or not something like this is good. This could be the future that you're looking at. God help us. Oh. Once you get to the hard part of it, it really becomes difficult. Very dirt-like taste. This isn't very good. Let's try another claw here. It's very crusty. It's really just crusty would be the taste I would describe it as. But anyways, I like this a lot better than the Carolina Reaper though. But anyways, ooh, there's a little bit left. Might as well make it worth it. It was quite expensive. But I don't mind because we hit 100 subscribers and there you go. I just ate the black scorpion. And maybe I'll eat some more bugs if we can get that up to 1,000. So you know what? You tell your friends and stuff. This guy's crazy. I need to use this little towelette now. I don't know what that is. Well, I'm not in the mood to die for 100 subscribers, so I'm just going to leave that at that. But all in all, a pretty successful challenge, I think. That went a lot better than I expected. And the black scorpion was not horrible tasting. It definitely wasn't good tasting, but it could have been worse. I'd give it about... It really wasn't very good, though. I'll say it's about a 58. I'd give it about that. It tasted a lot like dirt. Pretty terrible, though. Yeah. So get me to 1,000 subscribers and I'll do ants and everything. But, I think I'm gonna go wash my mouth out. Oh, wouldn't it be funny? I just ate a black scorpion, and what ends up destroying me is that the candle wax burns my... Oh, God, that hurt. Oh, okay, I'm fine. I make a video of a challenge, and it ends up being the candle. Blowing out a candle ends up being what kills me. I'm gonna wash this off now. See you all later. 100 subscribers! We did it! Southern Middle is the best!
You ready?
This is Horton Hears a Who by the Doc Seuss. I'm gonna wrap this book for y'all. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Nool, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked towards the sound. That's funny, thought Horton. There's no one around. Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. I'll help you, said Horton. But who are you? Where? He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. I say, murmured Horton, I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that is able to yell. So you know what I think? Why I think that there must be someone on top of that small speck of dust, some sort of a creature of very small size, too small to be seen by an elephant's eye. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that'll blow in the pool. He has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him, because after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. So gently, and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over and placed it down safe on a very soft clover. Humph! Humphed a voice. 'Twas the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, Humph too! Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin! A person on that, why, there never has been! Believe me, said Horton, I tell you sincerely, my ears are quite keen, and I heard him quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's 2, even 3, even 4, quite likely a family for all that we know. A family with children, just starting to grow. So please, Horton said, as a favor to me, try not to disturb them, just please let them be. I think you're a fool, laughed the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, Me too. You're the biggest blamed fool in the jungle of Nool. And the kangaroos plunged in the cool of the pool. What terrible splashing! The elephant frowned. I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. I'm bigger than they. So he plucked up the clover and hurried away. Through the high jungle tree tops, the news quickly spread. He talks to a dust speck. He's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on that flower. And Horton walked worrying almost an hour. Should I put the speck down? Horton thought with alarm. If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't. After all, a person's a person, no matter how small. Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could just barely hear it. Speak up, please, said Horton. He put his ear near it. My friend, came the voice, you're a very fine friend.
You've helped all of us folks on this dust speck no end. You've saved all our houses, our ceilings and floors. You've saved all our churches and grocery stores.
You mean? Horton gasped. You have buildings there too?
Oh, yes, piped the voice. We most certainly do. I know, called the voice. I'm too small to be seen, but I'm mayor of a town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you would seem terribly small, but to us who aren't big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, for I am a Who, and we Whos are all thankful and grateful to you.
And Horton called back to the mayor of the town, You're safe now, don't worry. I won't let you down.
But just as he spoke to the mayor of the speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wickersham brothers came shouting, What rot! The elephant's talking to who's who are not. This elephant's talking to who's who are not. These aren't any who's, and they don't have a mayor, and we're gonna stop all this nonsense, so there. They snatched Horton's clover. They carried it off to a black-bottom eagle named Radcliffe, a mighty strong eagle of very swift wings, and they said, Will you kindly get rid of this thing? And before the poor elephant even could speak, that eagle flew off with the flower in his beak. All that late afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottom bird flapped his wings in fast flight, while Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, Please don't harm all my little folks who have as much right to live as us bigger folks do. But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulders called back, Quit your yapping. I'll fly the night through. I'm a bird, I don't mind it, and I'll hide this tomorrow. Well, you'll never find it. And at 6:56 the next morning he did it. It sure was a terrible place that he hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide. Find that, sneered the bird, but I think you will fail. And he left with a flip of his black-bottom tail.
I'll find it, cried Horton. I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on my small speck of dust.
And clover by clover, with care, he picked up and searched them and called, Are you there? But clover by clover, he found that the one that he sought for was just not around. And by noon poor old Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched, and piled up 9,005. Then on through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last on the 3,000,000th flower.
My friends, cried the elephant, tell me, do tell. Are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well?
From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor. Really had trouble, much more than our share. When that black-bottom birdie let go and we dropped, we landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chairs smashed, and our bicycle tires all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please, pleaded the voice of the mayor, will you stick by us who's while we're making repairs?
Of course, Horton answered. Of course I will stick. I'll stick by you small folks through thin and through thick.
Humph! humped a voice. For almost 2 days you've run wild and insisted on chatting with people who've never existed. Such carrying-ons in our peaceable jungle, we've had quite enough of your billowing bungle, and I'm here to state, snapped the big kangaroo, that your silly nonsensical game is all through. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, Me too. With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws who've helped I've engaged, you're going to be roped and you're going to be caged. And as for your dust speck, ha! That we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of beezelnut oil.
Boil it? Gasped Horton. Oh, that you can't do. It's all full of persons, so prove it to you.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Horton called. Mr. Mayor, you've got to prove now that you really are there. So call a big meeting, get everyone out. Make every who holler, make every who shout, make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in a bezelnut stew. And down on the dust speck, the scared little mayor quick called a big meeting in Whoville Town Square, and the people cried loudly, they cried out in fear, "We are here, we are here, we are here, we are here." The elephant smiled. That was clear as a bell. You kangaroos surely heard that very well. All I heard, snapped the big kangaroo, was the breeze and the faint sound of wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voices, and you didn't either. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me neither." "Grab him," they shouted, "and cage the big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the knots right so he'll never shake loose. Then dunk that dumb speck in the bezelnut juice." Horton fought back with great vigor in vain, but the Wickersham gang was too many for him. They beat him, they mauled him, they started to haul him into his cage, but he managed to call to the mayor, "Don't give up, I believe in you all. A person's a person, no matter how small, and you very small persons will not have to die if you make yourself heard, so come on now and try!" The mayor grabbed his tom-tom, he started to smack it, and all over Whoville they whooped up a racket. They rattled the kettles, they beat on brass pans, on garbage pail tops and old cranberry cans. They built on bazookas and blasted great toots on clarinets, oompas and boompas and flutes. Great gusts of loud racket rang high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mayor called up through the howling mad hullabaloo, "Hey, Horton, how's that? Is the sound coming through?" And Horton called back, "I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as strong quite as mine. They don't hear a thing. Are you sure all your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who down in Whoville is working? Quick, look through the town. Is there anyone shirking?" Through the town rushed the mayor from the east to the west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping, everyone seemed to be beeping or bipping, but it wasn't enough, all this ruckus and roar. He had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building, he searched floor to floor. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere, and almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door, and that mayor discovered one shirker quite hidden away in the Fairfax apartment 12J. A very small shirker named Jojo was standing, just standing, and bouncing a yo-yo, not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp, and the mayor rushed inside and he grabbed that young twerp. And he climbed with the lad up the Eiffelberg Tower. "This," cried the mayor, "is your town's darkest hour. The time for all who's who have blood that is red to come to the aid of their country," he said. "We've got to make noise in greater amounts, so open your mouth, lad, for every voice counts." Thus he spoke as he climbed. When they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat, and he shouted out, "Yup!" And that yup, that one small extra yop put it over. Finally, at last, from that speck on that clover, their voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean. Then the elephant smiled. "Do you see what I mean? They've proved they are persons, no matter how small. And their world was saved by the smallest of all." "How true, yes, how true," said the big kangaroo. "And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do? From now on, I'm going to protect them with you." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too. From sun in the summer, from rain when it fallish, I'm going to protect them, no matter how smallish."
Ever since prehistoric man first landed on the moon, people have been wondering about why they are here and what the purpose of it all is. Well, here on this show, I plan on exposing the truth about talking animals, the connection between Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and aliens, horsemen, and for my very first episode, I'm going to be looking into the theory that Daniel Radcliffe might actually be a unicorn. This is Conspiracy Theater. Okay, so what makes me think that Daniel Radcliffe is a unicorn? Well, for starters, he just stars in so many roles that have horses in them. I mean, above coincidence. His first role, Oliver Twist, horses. His second role, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, unicorns. In fact, one that's dead. I know what you all are thinking. It's a fantasy series. Of course there's going to be unicorns. But you gotta remember that Daniel Radcliffe had to agree to star in that role. And why is he always agreeing to roles that have horses in them, way above what's reasonable? Like his first nude role. What happens to be in the background? Horses. His first nude role, and he feels the need to be with horses. Then there's the woman in black. And of course, the pièce de résistance. Daniel Radcliffe starred in a movie called Horns, where he was a man blamed for the murder of his girlfriend and grew a pair of demon horns and became ostracized by the rest of his community. Why did you choose that role, Daniel Radcliffe? Okay, so I know what you all are thinking. So what if Daniel Radcliffe just happens to have starred in a lot of roles that just happen to have had horses in them? That doesn't mean anything, right? Well, it gets a little bit weirder. Daniel Radcliffe went on this internet show, I believe it was Good Mythical Morning, and after the interview, Red and Link stated that Daniel... Well, here, let me just show you the video footage.
Spring mattresses, but Harry Potter star and former G&M guest, Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Big friend of ours. Such a big friend.
Yep. I text with him.
He chooses to hit the hay on a custom-made Savoie mattress stuffed with horsehair fleece and pine wood. Did he drop $9,500 on that mattress or $17,000 on that mattress?
Well, interesting that you now mention it, because I did notice he smelled like horses and pine trees when he was here.
Yep.
So why does Daniel Radcliffe sleep on a mattress filled with horsehair and pine needles? I mean, who does that? Unless he's a unicorn. And come to think about it, when I lie on a mattress filled with goose feathers, I don't smell like goose. So maybe the reason Rhett smelled horsehair and pine needles on Daniel Radcliffe was because he has horsehair and he's running around in the forest all night as a unicorn. And also, there's a whole bunch of other facts. Daniel Radcliffe did this interview, and the reporter mentioned that when he was talking to him about the first time he ever had sex, he mentioned how he felt horny. Horny, as in a unicorn horn on the top of his head. At this point, Daniel Radcliffe is just messing with us. In conclusion, I would like to go ahead and show you that picture one more time. I rest my case. I leave it for you all to decide. But let me make this clear. My conclusion is easy. Daniel Radcliffe is a unicorn. No doubt.
Don't click away. I just wanted to say some quick things here, and if you want to skip this introduction, there's the time code. But I know this goes against brand, and I'm sorry, but I really wanted to do this, and sometimes you just gotta say no to the YouTube algorithm. I also know that this was not my original idea. I don't know whose it was. I did a lot of research but couldn't find it out, but this is not an original almost everything idea, just to make it clear. And I'm sorry, I ended up doing this in like 2 shots, and this one was the best, and I'm afraid of losing my vocal cords. I have an audition to go to, so I don't want to lose them. So I hope you like this one, and with that out of the way, here's the Cat in the Hat rap. Hopefully this really does well for my channel. Hopefully. This is The Cat in the Hat by the Doc Seuss. I'm gonna rap this book for y'all. The sun did not shine, it was too wet to play, so we sat in the house all that cocoa wet day. I sat there with Sally, we sat there with two, and I said, how I wish we had something to do. Too wet to go out and too cold to play ball, so we sat in the house, we did nothing at all. So all we could do was to sit. And we did not like it, not one little bit. And then something went bump, how that bump made us jump. We looked, then we saw him step in on the mat. We looked and we saw him, the Cat in the Hat. And he said to us, why do you sit there like that? I know it is wet and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun that is funny. I know some good games we could play, said the Cat. I know some new tricks, said the Cat in the Hat. A lot of good tricks, I will show them to you. Your mother will not mind at all if I do. Then Sally and I did not know what to say. Our mother was out of the house for the day. But our fish said, no, make that cat go away. Tell that Cat in the Hat, you do not want to play. He should not be here, he should not be about. He should not be here when your mother is out. Now, have no fear, said the Cat. My tricks are not bad, said the Cat in the Hat. Well, we can have lots of good fun if you wish with the game that I call up with a fish. Put me down, said the fish. This is no fun at all. Put me down, said the fish. I do not want to fall. Have no fear, said the Cat. I will not let you fall. I will hold you up high as I stand on a ball with a book on one hand and a cup on my hat. But that is not all I can do, said the Cat. Look at me now, said the Cat, with a cup and a cake on the top of my hat. I can hold up 2 books, I can hold up the fish, and a little toy ship and some milk on a dish. And look, I can hop up and down on the ball, but that is not all, oh no, that is not all. Look at me now, it is fun to have fun, but you have to know how. I can hold up the cup and the milk and the cake, I can hold up these books and the fish on a rake, I can hold the toy ship and a little toy man, and look with my tail, I can hold a red fan, I can fan with the fan as I hop on the ball, but that is not all, oh no, that is not all. That is what the Cat said. Then he fell on his head. He came down with a bump from up there on the ball, and Sally and I, we saw all the things fall. And our fish came down too. He fell into a pot. He said, do I like this? Oh, no, I do not. This is not a good game, said our fish as he lit. No, I do not like it, not one little bit. Now look what you did, said the fish to the Cat. Now look at this house. Look at this, look at that. You sank our toy ship, sailing deep in the cake. You shook up our house and you bent our new rake. You should not be here when our mother is not. You get out of this house, said the fish in the pot. But I like to be here, oh, I like it a lot, said the Cat in the Hat to the fish in the pot. I will not go away, I do not wish to go. And so, said the Cat in the Hat, so, I will show you another good game that I know. And then he ran out, and then fast as a fox, the Cat in the Hat came back in with a box. A big redwood box, it was shut with a hook. Now look at this trick, said the Cat, take a look. Then he got up on top with the tip of his hat. I call this game fun in a box, said the Cat. In this box are 2 things I will show to you now. You will like these 2 things, said the Cat with a bow. I will pick up the hook, you will see something new, 2 things, and I call them thing 1 and thing 2. These things will not bite you, they want to have fun. Then out of the box came thing 2 and thing 1, and they ran to us fast. They said, how do you do? Would you like to shake hands with thing 1 and thing 2?
And Sally and I did not know what to do, so we had to shake hands with Thing 1 and Thing 2. We shook their 2 hands, but our fish said, "No, no, these things should not be in this house. Make them go. They should not be here when your mother is not. Put them out, said the fish in the pot. "Have no fear, little fish," said the cat in the hat. "These things are good things," and he gave them a pat. "They are tame, oh so tame. They will come here to play. They will give you some fun on this wet, wet, wet day." "Now here is a game that they like," said the cat. "They like to fly kites," said the cat in the hat. "No, not in our house," said the fish in the pot. "They should not fly kites in our house, they should not. Oh, the things they will bump, oh, the things they will hit. Oh, I do not like it, not one little bit." Then Sally and I saw them run down the hall. We saw those 2 things bump their kites on the wall. Bump, thump, thump, bump down the wall in the hall. Thing 2 and Thing 1, they ran up, they ran down on the strings of one kite. We saw Mother's new gown, a gown with the dots that are pink, white, and red. Then we saw one kite on the head of the bed. Then those 2 things ran about with big bumps, jumps, and kicks, and with hops and big thumps and all kinds of bad tricks. And I said, "I do not like the way that they play. If Mother could see this, oh, what would she say?" Then our fish said, "Look, look," and our fish shook with fear. "Your mother is on her way home, do you hear? Oh, what will she do to us? What will she say? Oh, she will not like it to find us this way." "So do something fast," said the fish. "Do you hear? I saw her. Your mother is near. So as fast as you can, think of something to do. You will have to get rid of Thing 1 and Thing 2. So as fast as I could, I went after my net, and I said, "With my net, I can get them, I bet. I bet with my net, I can get those things yet." Then I let down my net. It came down with a plop, and I had them. At last, those 2 things had to stop. Then I said to the cat, "Now you do as I say. You pack up those things, and you take them away." "Oh dear," said the cat, "you did not like our game. Oh dear, what a shame, what a shame, what a shame." Then he shut up the things in the box with the hook, and the cat went away with a sad kind of look. "That is good," said the fish. "He has gone away, yes, but your mother will come. She will find this big mess, and this mess is so big and so deep and so tall, we cannot pick it up. There is no way at all." And then, who was back in the house? Why, the cat. "Have no fear of this mess," said the cat in the hat. "I always pick up all my playthings, and so I will show you another good trick that I know." Then we saw him pick up all the things that were down. He picked up the cake and the rake and the gown and the milk and the string and the book and the dish and the fan and the cup and the ship and the fish, and he put them away. Then he said, "That is that," and then he was gone with the tip of his hat. Then our mother came in, and she said to us, "Did you have any fun? Tell me, what did you do?" And Sally and I did not know what to say. Should we tell her the things that went on there that day? Should we tell her about it? Now, what should we do? Well, what would you do if your mother asked you?
Holy crow. Well, look where he lives. Food country, Italy.
All right, the point of this nature walk is to show you that the world is teeming with life. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. We're going to see if we can't spot any life. Oh, there's a gnat. There's a gnat. Oh, look at that. A spider web. I don't see any spider, but they can be very good at hiding. No, nothing in there. I did see a toad, though, in there just recently. I was hoping I might see him again. If he's in there, he's hiding, though. A lot of gnats. A lot of bugs. There's so many bugs in the world. Do you ever notice that? It's like every leaf, there's a bug crawling around. Oh my gosh, guys, we found something big. It's a deer. Oh my gosh, look at that, guys. I mean, in Garrett County, that's not really that amazing, but, like, still. The fact that we just went on a random nature walk and we found a deer, he was looking straight at us. Okay, let's get closer. Let's get closer to him. There's another deer. Oh my gosh. Holy cow, we found 2 deer. 2 deer. 2 deer. Sounds like something, but it's not. I wonder how close we could get to him before he starts punching us. Just stands up on his 2 legs and starts punching the crap out of me. This was 2 freaking minutes we were able to find this. That is incredible. It was not even deliberate at all. I had no idea there was a deer up here. Hello. Oh, okay, now he ran away. And that is the end of our nature walk. We got to end on the high note. So long.